Hello, my name is Zachary Steele. I am the founder and executive director of Broadleaf Writers Association in Atlanta, Georgia. And welcome to Get Your Story Straight, 15 Story Beats from Save the Cat Writes a Novel by Jessica Brody. This is the fifth and final part in a series of videos walking through the Save the Cat method of storytelling. Now in this part, we're going to take on the last 3 beats of your book, in the entirety of Act 3, and those are break into Act 3, finale, and final image, and this covers approximately 20%, the final 20% of your novel. And so that I can offer an example of how these beats are put to use, I will continue to reference Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. So here we are, the final act of your story. This is where everything your hero has learned is put to use. This is where what your hero was in Act 1 and what they learned in Act 2 is fused into what your hero will become. Now, in a single scene or chapter, the break into 3 is quite simply the point of realization. It's the breakthrough for your hero. They have finally learned to fix things the right way, which is a great thing because they made such a mess of things in Act 2 trying to fix things the wrong way. But they've learned, they've lost everything. So no more shortcuts, no more cheats, no more avoiding the bigger issues. Your hero has come to a realization and has changed everything. It was never them, it was me. So finally, your hero has accepted their flaws, they see what they have to do, and they're ready to act. Now in Harry Potter and Sorcerer's Stone, the break into 3 covers just 3 pages, 269 through 271. And I mean, there's no choice left. Harry, Ron, and Hermione must stop Snape from reaching the Sorcerer's Stone to prevent Voldemort from returning. They don't have time for more games. There's no time for more snooping. There's no more running around to the adults for help that they won't get anyway. It's just time for action, which means we're ready for the finale. Now, I'm not going to break any boundaries here in telling you that this is where everything comes to a close. After all, we've all seen finales or finals of something, right? So let's take what we already know and break it down into something we don't, or may not know. Unlike Acts 1 and 2, which have multiple beats driving them forward, the finale essentially is Act 3. But we can actually break the finale down into 5 separate sub-beats. After all, you've worked hard to get here, and the finale is daunting. So taking it in smaller beats will help immensely. So the five sub beats that we're going to cover are gathering the team, executing the plan, the high tower surprise, dig deep down, and the execution of the new plan. And so that we can spend some time in each of these beats, we'll walk through the Harry Potter finale, which takes, like I said, places on pages 271 to 309. So let's start with point 1, gathering the team. So here, the gang gathers after everyone has gone to sleep. They have to get past the pestering Peeves and their friend Neville Longbottom before they can even begin. Now, the main function of this subbeat is to assemble the troops. They might already all be together in the same area and are just taking the next step, or your hero might have alienated themselves from one or more of the B story characters they need. So they'll have to go find them, they'll have to mend the fences, and then they'll have to move forward together, which means they're ready to begin executing the plan. Now, in the Sorcerer's Stone, Harry, Ron, and Hermione head to the 3rd floor where they discovered the trap door before, and Fluffy guarding it in Act 2. But they get there to discover that a harp is playing and that Fluffy is sound asleep. Now, the kids conclude that Snape has already gone past and must be on his way to finding the stone, so they feel they have to follow him. Once they manage to get past Fluffy, they immediately find themselves trapped in a large plant that is called Devil's Snare. And though they manage to escape, their challenges have only just begun. It takes Harry using a broom to chase down a flying key before they can reach the next room. However, this is just the first, or this right here will actually be the first of 2 B story sacrifices we see. The very first one is Ron, who leads them to victory in a hard-fought game of wizard's chess, but has to sacrifice himself in order to do it. And then directly after that, we see the second sacrifice with Hermione, who is facing a potions riddle and realizes that in order to send Harry forward, she has to drink a potion that sends her back. Now, the Beast story sacrifices is a critical piece of the puzzle. Despite everything that Harry has learned, despite the deep bonds of friendship he's formed with Ron and Hermione, he absolutely has to face the challenge, and therefore his fears, his flaws, and himself, to win the day. And also remember that you need to push the envelope with this plan. Whether like Harry and gang, you're pushing your characters through a series of challenges, or whether you're simply pushing the choices to the edge, you have to make it riveting. You have to surprise your reader, wow them, let it leave the reader asking, can this really work? And most importantly, right now the plan is going well. They're succeeding. They've managed everything so far without much difficulty. But the third subbeat changes all of that. This one is the high tower surprise. And this derived from the idea of a knight going to storm a castle only to discover that the princess isn't there and they're locked in a high tower somewhere away. Now you don't have to actually have a high tower, but the most important thing is that there's elements of surprise in this. If there's going to be a trap for your hero, it's here. After all, everything has been going well with the plan so far, and we've learned through this process. And as we've learned through this process, that can only mean trouble for your hero. In essence, that makes this yet another catalyst. For Harry, the high tower surprise is the discovery that it wasn't Snape pursuing the stone at all. In fact, he's actually been trying to stop the man who was after the stone, or Snape, that is, has been trying to stop the man who is after the stone. And that man is Professor Quirrell. He is revealed as the mastermind behind everything, including Harry's near fall from his broom during Quidditch in Act 2. Bound by Quirrell's magical rope, Harry is caught, and we're left to wonder how will he survive? He's left to wonder how will he survive. Well, the answer is in the dig down deep subbeat. Now, if the high tower surprise was another catalyst, then this is obviously the debate that follows. And that's a pattern you should keep in mind as you craft your story. Every action has a reaction, every cause has an effect. In the dig down deep subbeat, Harry has to decide what to do. Quirrell has found the mirror of Erised and wants Harry to use the mirror to find the stone. Harry looks in the mirror and sees himself holding the stone. His reflection drops it in his pocket, and Harry quickly realizes that he now has the Sorcerer's Stone in his own pocket. Somehow the mirror gave him the stone. But what should he do? Can he keep the secret from Quirrell? The only thing he can think of is to quickly lie, taking a cue from Ron earlier in the book, and says he sees himself as head boy holding the house cup, essentially just saying he sees himself very successful at school, and that is his greatest desire. But that's when things shift yet again. It's action and reaction. A creepy voice calls out, calling Harry a liar, and then asks to speak to Harry itself. Reluctantly, Quirrell relents, and we get the big reveal. In fact, Quirrell has a partner, and it's none other than Lord Voldemort, who possessed part of Quirrell to survive. Now, Voldemort knows Harry has the stone in his pocket and orders Quirrell to attack, but the moment he touches Harry, his hands burn. It's in this moment that Harry realizes the power in being the boy who lived. The power to defend himself against Voldemort has been within him the whole time, which leads Harry into the execution of a new plan. With this new understanding and acceptance, Harry knows what to do. When Voldemort orders Quirrell to kill Harry, Harry launches into Quirrell, hands pressed into the man's face. Instantly, Quirrell's skin begins to burn, and his face and body following and turning into ash. And then Quirrell is gone. He's no more. And what's left of Voldemort flees. However, the effort to kill Quirrell brought so much pain to Harry that he passes out and later awakes in the infirmary. There he's visited by Dumbledore. And here Harry learns that Quirrell is dead, the stone has been destroyed, and that Voldemort indeed escaped but will inevitably return. Dumbledore tells Harry that he placed the stone in the mirror and that only a selfless person, one who wanted to save the stone but not use it, would be able to reach it. He also tells Harry that the reason he was able to inflict such damage on Quirrell, and therefore Voldemort, was because of the love his mother showed for him in sacrificing herself to protect him as a child. That love carries with it a spell, a protection that Voldemort could never understand. Which brings us to the end. It brings us to the final image. It's time to wrap it up. If the opening image was the before shot, then the final image is the after. It's a single scene or chapter that shows the transformation of your hero. Now here, the reader should be able to clearly see that the differences between your hero at the beginning and end are stark. If not, then you definitely still have some work to do. So go back to the beginning and try and help show the reader the differences between the characters. And the very simple example of that is if you're going to go to the beach, you take a before shot and you take an after shot. Before, you may look a little palish. After that, you're going to look red as a lobster. Very stark difference. Now, in Harry Potter, the final images cover page 307 and 309. Here, Harry, Ron, and Hermione are boarding the Hogwarts Express to head home for the summer. Harry is clearly and visibly a different person, even going so far as to say he'll threaten to use magic on his cousin Dudley, even though using it would actually be illegal. And that most importantly, he knows he isn't going home. He's found his home with his friends. and that's it. It took 5 parts and close to an hour and a half of video to cover it, but I hope it helped, and I most certainly hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in reading the Save the Cat Writes a novel and learning this process in a much more slowly and detailed way, I would recommend that you reach out to your local independent bookstores and order a copy. I mean, now more than ever, they need your support. And if you'd like to look at the table that I personally created to track the story beats, what I use to help me craft my stories and write, feel free to reach out to me at Zach@broadleafwriters.com or request it here on YouTube or any of the social media sites. And well, speaking of, if you would like to find out more about Broadleaf Writers, you can head to broadleafwriters.com and check us out there. Or you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And in fact, on Facebook, we actually have a community page where we work together as writers to help one another, whether that be through beta reading, critique groups, advice, articles, these kind of videos, things like that. But one way or another, we're there to help one another. So feel free to join us. But that's it. That's all I got for you. So thank you all, and best to you and your writing.